Recording. Let me put this on. So now, karibu to Alboa Cinema. Now, of course, I was going to have to say something about the happenings in the US of A. You know, the last, was it on Saturday? It's been a few days. I just kind of want to let things simmer a bit so that I know where the facts are. But the former president of America, the orange man, Donald Trump, somebody tried to take him out. It was a very weird thing to watch. And especially watching the media baadaye out there saying, oh, it was weird. It was weird. It's like, it's not a big thing, you know, like, and I've listened to him for I think 4 or 5 years or something like that. So it's his opinions I trust. So I'm going to listen or commentate on the happenings in America through what is through this reaction. I thought when I was watching this video from about the 48th minute there, he had some really deep. This is his opinion, which I think we can get a lot of information from. So let me weka hiyo. Let's go.
And this is my opinion. This is my theory. I don't have concrete facts. This is just me telling you what I think is really happening out in these streets. Okay? You ready?
Yeah, of course, the opinion. So don't say the facts.
The final attempt. Everything that y'all put together as far as what you thought was going to work has failed thus far. You didn't even think that it was a possibility for him to even run again. But then when you seen that little twinkle in our eyes and we said, listen, we don't believe you. You need more people. You said that we're going to go ahead and try to ruin his reputation and try to sully his name in the minds of the people. But you didn't know that all that did was make him more famous.
Let me just say something about this. And if you follow American politics, you know, from the time Trump came into office, you saw how the media, you see, some of us who were exposed to Trump decades ago, but it's because he was like for me it was like The Apprentice. But then also a lot of rappers used to sing a rap about him, praising him and whatnot. But around that 2015, 2016 time when they said he would be president, every narrative kind of switched. And for me, because I don't trust mainstream media for decades, for like 20 years I've not. So I said every time mainstream media attacks something vehemently, it's good to look closer. So when he became president, of course, you heard of the impeachments and whatnot. Oh, CG, Stormy Daniels, Suyo Pornstar, Limpeka Kwiki Pali, Didi. So there's a lot of things and a lot of precedents was set in how politics is done in the US. The way how hard they went for him, like the CIA, the FBI, the media, the most powerful people in America who are going for him so hard. You're like, corrupt. Lakini tuendelee kidogo na wewe.
And sometimes the person that we've identified as the villain is really the hero. It just depends on what side that you're looking at it from.
And there's this narrative always, like if you're black or something like that, that you always have to support the other side, like you're uko America, like, but even worldwide, like hata hapa Kenya, hata black Americans, hata Kenyans abroad, they expect you to have the same derangement they have about the person as they do, because their narratives are filtered through the media throughout, so they don't really have an objective outlook. If you've consumed information from other sources, online especially, a lot of things become clearer because everything is not sieved through people who have a big stake in making sure that a certain side wins or not. If you remember beer bag and the way things went. Anyway,
that you have on your
vitu mingi hapa.
Sometimes the villain, the person that they paint as the villain, is really the hero. And that's why we identify with him, because we can understand what it looks like to be perfect.
And I listen to black people in America also, because naambiwa uishi hapa ujui, but this is a black American. he doesn't have the same derangement as others about the guy. So wezi niambie eti siko hapo. These are people who live there. Millionaire. Working hard, doing business.
Executed against when somebody don't want you to be able to compete with them because they can't compete with you. Couldn't compete with them in a debate on their stage. All of the rules.
Hey, by the you see, for those who don't watch mainstream, we knew Biden. At 2020, bogged. He wasn't there. We all could see. But you see, if you watch media a lot and you're inclined to believe more and your bias is that way, when you see someone literally walk this way and greet air, turn this way and then know where to go, then they mix it and tell you, oh, by the way, no, he's not like that. He was just tired, jet lag. The narratives are being broken because the flow of information is now more, should I say, liberal or free? Like if you really want to know something, you'd know it. Information highway, internet.
Every single attempt, every single coup, all of the secret meetings, all of the advocating for. I seen that Kamala Harris was just at the AKA meeting. Roly-Poly Martin was over there with selfie stick getting removed out of the office. I see
if you know time,
they trying to leverage
time is time.
They're not speaking to you based off of facts and policy. Even when they go and they advocate at these little events and at these rallies, what they're doing is they're not speaking to the true issues of the American people. Why are there so many single-family households? Why did we defund the police? Why are all of these liberal cities falling under?
Important things in society, but when the huge things are falling apart, they're not addressing them because the political class has diverted people with these stupid ideologies they have. So right now, ukisema, if you criticize a black person or a woman, you're either misogynist or you're racist. If you criticize something that certain protected groups in the West are doing that is objectively bad, my friend, you would not get far. So that is a fact, but that hold, or that the mainstream media, the politicians and activists and not have on what claiming they are the arbiters of the truth is been broken because they are so persistently dishonest. Like kocha nikwambie, just go watch. If like I watch CNN sometimes, you have to know what everybody's thinking, and in your head you're like, no, like you can tell this is not news. This is people who have an agenda and they're giving you an opinion. Most of what you guys watch as news is actually an opinion of someone who's paid to push that particular opinion. That's why you find some ideas are very hard to get through because the same money is being used to suppress those ideas. And sometimes you see, like when you try to think a certain way, you've seen even the way these male spaces on the internet have been treated. When you say just simple facts, people get belligerent, like get mad, like, no, why is saying that it's a crime, which is like Kitambo religious, it's a sin. So everybody's creating their own to sins and their own to blasphemies, so that you don't get to question anything, unless what they want you to question. Personally, I think I really overcame that, and that's why I don't say things to please. I just want to speak as honestly as I can and see where that takes me. I think for the last 15 or so years, I've tried that mantra and it works really well. You might not receive the immediate gratification or trying to do business honestly. You might not receive the immediate gratification, but if you stick at it and you push, things do come together. Especially if you keep an open mind, keep growing and keep improving, it happens. It's not 100% that it might happen. I mean, there are people who work really hard and they stay in poverty forever. But the chance of you succeeding this way is very high. But it's not overnight the way some of you want it. Anyway, Chicago, I digress.
Los Angeles, Oakland. Oakland has recently been taken over by the California Highway Patrol. They can't even police themselves no more. They're operating at a budget deficit. Chicago, California, the state itself, is operating at a $65 billion budget deficit. They taking money out of the slush fund.
California is a very popular, Hollywood and whatnot. They have oil. It's the biggest economy in the world, state-wise, I think. But it's falling apart because of if you really think about the larger scale, I don't want to go into it because there are many facets of it. If you think about it, like a lot of this, like even if you see how Hollywood movies are falling, what they are pushing, how they are, the arrogance, that virtue signaling and moralizing, which is fake. When you do that, which is fake, and that's why even churches have fallen on the wayside. Like people don't really go unless they are going to hide and pretend there anymore, because their words don't mean anything. We know that the guy is telling you this, what you can buy him his Prado or his Range Rover or even planes. So people are losing legitimacy because of the lies, the dishonesty, and the corruption. That's the same thing that's going on in America, and it's on overkill because that's the biggest economy, the most opportunities, and it's being cannibalized. Mpaka saa hii, a lot of people will tell you there are places there that look
even keep their own state solvent. Everywhere.
By the corruption huko kwao imefika ni kama sisi hapa. Unaona hii story ya huyu Biden. It just looks like this guy's the person is so he can't think, can't talk. But they're here telling us, oh no, you didn't see it correctly.
Everywhere where they sold you out. And I'm telling you right now, they sold you out. They played on your...
And this guy is huyu Biden ndio prezo wetu alienda kaenda kakalisha huko kiti. Like if you see that kind of pandering, just know that we've been sold. Easy to come back and say now we must pay all the money now in huge chunks. It's because those people want their money. I don't think it's really their money, but they want the money and hiyo kickback na Ruto anataka yake hapo immediately. So ili corruption ya America ile tuko nayo hapa na America, same thing. It depends on the state obviously, but this corruption area, but the extent where such a rich state is falling apart. Ukisikia story ya homelessness, ukisikia story ya madrugs huko na makriminati na nini, it's like, anyway, tuendelee. I talk a lot.
They have the ability to remain solvent in their own countries and in their own states and their own environments, your communities. They let 15 plus million immigrants into your cities and they call them sanctuaries. And then they came in and they training them to take your job.
I personally think they're replacing the workforce in the US in that, because there's no country that's that kind of immigration where guys are just daily. Hakuna penye ili survive. Hata sisi at that time when Somalia was in trouble, Ethiopia, all around. So everybody was coming in. It became rather stressful until the UNs and everything, they had to bring resources here. We opened basically another, like Akuma, I think, in my opinion, it's like another constituency altogether. People are born there, they live, and it's you see, that level of immigration, especially to a country, because it's a subcontinent, it's huge. But resources have to be built up over time. Ndio sababu wako na hiyo green card system. In fact, that's every country. There's immigration, but you always have to control, because on the ground, if you don't, you overstep, because also you mix it with corruption. Service delivery becomes bogus. Anyway, you know that.
They training them to take your jobs every day because you don't want to work, and so they, instead of, you thought that it was going to...
By the way, hiyo ideology na working, they like complaining a lot. Watu wanatoka makantri zingine wanaenda huko na make do, wanaacha hao mamblina wakiendelea
5-day working is difficult. 5-day working 40 hours a week, so stressful.
Ukisikia wakiongea hivyo 40 hours, that's 5 days. Maybe I work every day from 8 like paka midnight. I don't care. But it's so stressful. And like this country is suffering the gluttony of like when you have too much. Gluttony takes up, and laziness. I'm telling you, there's no one who complains in this world these days more than privileged people. They whine. Oh my God, because this victimhood thing has become fashionable. So even if you're having it nice, you have to complain, oh, life is so hard. So that you feel like you're with the others. But really, we know
work in
them are
order to
fake.
advocate for at first $15 an hour. Now you making 20 plus dollars an hour. to pass out
Unaweza
fast food.
shaita.
The
Nya-
kids
nyashe
can't even
hiyo
get a
taa.
job because you think that you should be paid a
Let
fair
me-
wage. And so as a result, you forgot what the core principles of what make this country so great going forward, even though we've had decades and decades and centuries of
Sorry,
bullshit.
it's
It's
getting
based off
dark.
of the idea that you should have the freedom to pursue liberty and happiness, justice for all. That means that you are not given anything, but it's based off of your own work ethic. But they took that choice away from you because they tried to influence, in my opinion, what was basically happening and taking away your choice by then incentivizing you to vote for something that wasn't even in your best interest, even if they can't have a coherent thought. Even if they can't have a coherent thought. Even if you are too old and you're showing signs of dementia. Even if they want to incentivize you to vote a certain type of way because they know that you are a simp. And so what happens is you start to lean towards your liberal policies and diversity, equity, and inclusion because your inability to compete. You have
That's usually painful. A lot of, because the truth is of the matter, while a lot of activism is useful, a lot of it is also infantilizing people. So that you're always waiting for some savior. So huko America unajua kuna hizo ma social security na nini. So a lot of people have been seduced by that. So you'll find whole families, generations of families living off the government. So they don't have people who've gone to school at all or learned anything ya maana or building their own things. So communities, kama black community in India and some places, they've been so infantilized that the person who comes and offers the most free things, which by the way, there's nothing for free. Somebody else is paying for it. So those are the kind of, that's the kind of culture they've cultivated. So there are people like him, that's why I follow him, who is not with that victimhood mentality. And that's what we did everywhere. Dunia mzima. Si eti kila mtu, oh, mazi, I'm oppressed, man. Like, you guys don't know oppression. Most of you have no idea what oppression is. It just sounds cool. Like, because you're having a hard time, then, oh, I'm oppressed. No, you're not. So, like, but it's very attractive to lazy people. It's very attractive to people, ignorant people, factually. So it's this thing that it's become very popular. And even right now, ukiuliza watu wali make decision gani, wakamsee fulani, wanasikia vibaya. But hawataki kujiangalia wenyewe wa improve juu wajue. It's through them improving themselves that the entire society improves. Hamwezi kimbia kwa ule msee mbaya eti ndio mwenye ajui kitu assault kitu na yeye ajui na yeye ndio cause. Like, I mean,
people coming over into this country that's taking over your opportunity.
I mean, I don't understand. How do you go to someone who's caused the problem to solve your problem? Like, it makes no sense. You all know that.
Because you failed. You failed as a voter. You failed to become educated. And now look what happened. Now we had to have divine intervention. Now we had to have the silent majority, not the loudest minority. The silent majority had to stand up and said, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We can no longer let you do the thing that's not even in your own best interest. You know why? Because it's not even about you no more. Boomers, Xers, older millennials, geriatric millennials, people that continue to do the thing that's not in their best interest, and the only thing that they have to stand on is that I don't like him is the reason why I'm voting for him. You don't even have no understanding. And it don't even matter. Because
it's one of the weakest reasons for voting for someone.
Forgive your student loans. So now your property taxes is booming. You got migrants sleeping on your sidewalks. You have no ability to even provide housing for yourself. You can't buy a home. You can't survive. You then don't even have the job to stand on. You got a felony. The very ones that wrote the policies that put you in jail a long time ago and put your fathers and your grandfathers in jail is the same ones that was telling you that you ain't black if you ain't voting for us, even though they're not even black themselves and don't identify as such.
I never understood. Like that guy, there's this guy called Charlemagne the God. The guy went on, is it called the Breakfast Club? Yes, he went there to Joe Biden and said that if you're having trouble choosing between me and Trump, if you're a black person, then you're not black. That's the time I knew that tayari kiongo yake ilikuwa ishaanza kukufry kidogo. I knew because you're saying some weird things. Yes, he's been kind of brash but you're saying who would say such a thing? But no matter, he said it and they still voted for him. 92% of that community voted for him. Hiyo si inaitwa mind virus. Hiyo ni nini?
But they sold you and they continue to sell you on this idea that you can then attach yourself to the federal government and somebody is coming to save you. That's not what this country is about. It's not about saving you. It's about giving you the opportunity to save yourself. And so many of us are running in the victim Olympics that we looking for somebody to give us an excuse or an out for why we not what we supposed to be. And so what you've seen happen and build up even during your grandfather's time on this earth and your great-grandfather's time on this earth is that they then gave you the wrong perspective of what you were supposed to be looking for when we then identify the person that's supposed to be leading us. Because our legislators and our leaders are ultimately the ones that then stand in our place and make the laws that then govern us.
So it's the same thing. Look, like us here, our generation, the generation before me, kuendelea mpaka Gen Z. It's the same worldwide as you notice. The older generation, wengine, like for them, they became weak, followed Gava edicts, ruined their families, got into debt unnecessarily. Because America kupata loan si ngumu kama hapa. And they basically ruined a good thing by following government, not working hard, always just following this mainstream media lies and what, so that you in America as a black person has more opportunities than any other black person in the world. But you think you are oppressed because you are listening to these people who wanted to keep you in that frame of mind so that you keep voting for them. It's not even a very clever mind game. So your mentality, I'm also doing this to show the mentality, actually, because it's a long video, 1 hour 14 minutes, but this section is what matters the most in my opinion. So that's why we listen to this.
Failed cities: Chicago, Brandon Johnson; Dayton, Illinois; Oakland; Shanghai; Tiffany Henyard; Karen Bass; Eric Adams, unable to be able to govern the very places that y'all said to fund the police and y'all said Black Lives Matters. And we had over 100 people last weekend that died in Chicago, that got shot in Chicago. Over 20 people died, and you can't even govern yourselves. And they allocated $500,000 towards the study of reparations, but they spent over $400 million towards making sure that migrants had schooling, health care, housing, and jobs, and now they training them to take your place, and you can't even figure out what your right is from your left. And all I hear from black people a lot of times is, why you not voting? Because you don't believe in either candidate. Okay, you ain't voting on the national election. You also ain't even voting in your own city, because the voter turnout rate in Houston.
For me, the last election I didn't vote. Neither of them, in my opinion, is a good leader. So that is.
When they said that they was going broke and they was over there finessing y'all, was less than 8.3%. How do I know more about your own city than you do? How do I know more about your own city than you do? You're a businessman. Why do I know it? Why am I doing these shows on the Millionaire Morning Show every single day talking about what's happening in your city, and you don't even know what's happening in your own legislature? You don't know who your alderman is. You don't know who your county treasurer is. You don't even know where your property taxes is going up. And it ain't until you already under duress and they can control you is when you start to get concerned. We need to be proactive about paying attention to what's happening in our cities, our legislative branches, and so goes us as our federal government. Because when you start to look at these people that's making these decisions and you look at how bad these cities are, what you basically seeing is a reflection of the people that voted them in. So I'm not going to advocate for somebody like Tiffany Henyard to be taken out of office because you deserve her. You deserve Karen Bass. You deserve Eric Adams. You deserve all of these people that's then putting you in jail, taking your rights, taking control of your cities, and then telling you what you gonna pay in order to make sure that somebody else that made the decision to go to college and party and pick diversity, equity, and inclusion and basket weaving, underwater basket weaving, African American studies, and then can't even provide for themselves. They became social workers. They got $150,000 in student loan debt, yet they're gonna sit here and praise Biden for giving their student loans when it came out of your pocket. That's your money. That's your tax dollars. And we are the ones that gotta pay for it. And because you don't want to be educated, yet you continue to give your money voluntarily to the federal government to determine what's gonna happen. They giving all of your money to Ukraine. They're giving all of your money to Taiwan to fight these proxy wars, especially when it comes to the CHIPS Act. You let these people put all of this stuff inside of these legislatures. They gave you the infrastructure deal, but you never read it. And the only thing you care about is abortion.
Woo! Ooh, sasa, that's the part I remember when I watched this. I was like, yeah, you deserve them. If you put them there, you deserve them. You refuse to listen. You're looking, they're doing everything wrong before they're in office. They were stealing. They're doing everything wrong. They are still buying the expensive watches. They are still doing all those things. Weren't they? You saw it. You said, oh, I'm a hustler. You saw it. But now you can't live with it. Like these people. You make a bad decision, then you want everyone else to pay for it. There's no way. There's no way, because if you do not, first of all, take responsibility for decisions you make. Your bad decision, not as ukifanya kitu mzuri ndio unajua mimi, no. You take responsibility for your bad decisions. So that maybe next time you do not make those same bad decisions. So this is not a Kenya thing. No. You know, Napa, they're crying in America also. Because worldwide, people are making stupid decisions and expect other people to carry the load for them. You did it. You know you did it. That's why all this noise you guys running around doesn't make sense to me. Because you did it. Instead of now say, hey, yeah, Maze, we messed up on that guy. Next time, because unless you want to ban everything, it has to be next time. And that's what it is. So maybe you can harakisha a bit and try and make it earlier, make the noise and do what. But I'm telling you, the decision was yours to begin with. So the whole country is not going to pay because you refuse to listen. Tuendelee na Anton kidogo, but I think I'm about to finish this.
Yeah. Control. Close your legs and get married before you carry. And we letting these people tell us what we're supposed to do inside of our legislative branches, and they the ones that work for us. They work for us. How you gonna let them continue to finesse you and they work for us? They work for us.
This is my state of mind. It's just
work for you. Your president, he worked for you. Your Congress members that keep getting rich off of you, they work for you. That's your money. That's your money. For you not to know who it is that they work for, how would you ever open up a business and have an employee walking around saying what you gonna do and using your money to tell you what to do? You would fire him immediately. You wanna know what's happening in your own households. You wanna know what's happening in your own cities. How do you not know?
That's right.
How do you not know? How do we not know what is happening in all of these cities all around the country, but yet you continue to subject yourself to it? What are you, a simp? What are you, a sucker?
That's right.
Who are you? Why are we not aware of what's happening in our communities? Why are these people not coming over there and asking us what we want before election season? And why are we not leveraging our dollars and our power in order to determine and tell them what to do, what we want, based off of what we really need, instead of them playing off your emotions?
Yeah. Those questions. You heard them. That's where I'm at. I really big up yourself, Anton. You see, a lot of the times as older folk, I'm 46, I'll be 47 in a couple of months. Let me tell you, we've seen it all. We've experienced most of it. We know what destroys and what builds. We know the kind of your mind frame. The mind frame you need to have to grow and to fail. We've gone through, so it's always, the first thing is the information. The second thing is what you do with it. Because there are people my age who do jack shit. They have the experience, they've seen everything, but they don't have the control, the self-control, the discipline. We've all suffered it. I've suffered it, like in my 20s, early 30s. God damn. If I was a bit more disciplined, but I'm not going to cry over that. Or say, okay, so since it's ruined now, I'm old, I can't do anything. I'm not going to fall in that frame of mind. Because guys are falling in that frame of mind at 20. You guys, I know it's the dreamer's time when you're 20 and the 20s and late teens. But that's the time that you need to hunker down a bit. Just tone down the excitement. Look at the ass and say, okay, it's nice. Wacha iendelee. not following there and going to pour resources just to bust a nut in 5 minutes. You see, there's many decisions you can make. You can see this, the old guys we have now who have chums, who are dating hoes, like having children, commercial sex workers. Like, seriously. Like, I get your anger. Like, some of these guys, I look at them like, nigga, like, you have 100 million shillings now, hii ndio umechukua. Ameenda chini kabisa kwa drawer chini huko mahali kuna cobwebs, akachukua huko akaeka hapa juu eti queen. Low standards everywhere, and we are defending low standards because it's cool. It's not even cool. Watu wanavaa malashes sijui zinakaaje, nails sijui zinakaaje, fake ass, fake titties, fake everything, and it's cool. What is not cool? It's fucking low value, bottom feeder kind of thing. So inabidi watu mujipange. You're not young. Even after you're like 20, the teens I can forgive you a bit, but after you're 20, with the information that is around now, you'll be willfully ignorant. And if you cannot discipline yourself, utaambiwa sahi hamtasikia, maybe ukizeeka ndio utajua, lakini I have to say it, otherwise it's what are we doing here? Sawa. Hey, anyway, I had to react to this one. This is somebody I've followed for a while and think he has very good content. Unaweza enda pia musubscribe kwake hapo, Anton Daniels hapo mnaona. 310,000 subscribers on this channel. He has another couple of others, so yeah. Sawa wase.